The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Carson-Newman Baseball has released its schedule. Here with Coach Tom Griffin, I'm Michael Watring for the Eagles Sports Network. And Coach, quite the schedule that you have this year. A lot of really good teams. The defending national champions, Wingate, of course, on there. But you have a boatload of games against teams that qualified for regionals last year. When you look at this year's schedule, what challenges does it present for your crew?
First, good to see you again, and I know you're just as excited as I am for the baseball season because you're a huge baseball fan. But, yeah, the schedule, let's face it, when we're scheduling, we're usually trying to schedule kind of the same people that we have good relationships with, that you know are competitive and do things the right way. We were fortunate to get Quincy out of Illinois to come on an off weekend because everyone's searching for an off weekend, and you put it out there, and fortunately Quincy's able to come. It's an outstanding program, a historically really strong program. And then Charleston, Coach Robbie Britt, he's a local guy from Maryville who was at MTSU and got the head job there a couple years ago, took them to a regional. He's one of the best young coaches out there. He's really sharp in what he does at Charleston. So it was an opportunity to bring him back home to East Tennessee and get his squad here. But, yeah, challenges within our conference. It's going to be great parity in the conference, as it always is. And then the regulars of Lee University and Young Harris and Belmont Abbey, we were able to get back on there with Chris Anderson. So, yeah, it's a very competitive schedule, and I think it's what we needed with the group we have because we feel like we have a veteran group coming back. And COVID did that for everybody, but we had a really good fall. The optimism within our players and the program is really high right now, as it should be, with the veteran presence that we have.
I'm looking at the start of your schedule. You go to Alabama Huntsville, then an always good Belmont Abbey team. Charleston's there, Wingate's there, Quincy is there. You get a really quick litmus test of how good your team can potentially be right at the start. How imperative is it when your kids come back in January to get off to a good start in training to make sure that you're ready for those teams?
Every coach in the country, we talk about this next 4 or 5 weeks while those guys are at home. When they come back, you've got anywhere from 18 to 22, 24 days to be ready for that game. We got to go down to Huntsville. Coach Hunter Royer, his program, regional. We've been down there. I don't know if we've ever won down there, honestly. I don't think I've ever won 100. So I don't even know why I'm going down there, to be honest with you. But we're going down, and then it is. That should really prepare us because you're bringing in a national champion opening up with. So those weekends that we have will give us a good idea of where we're at. And I think this fall helped a lot. You know, going over and fortunately being able to go play Lipscomb gave our guys a sense of, listen, Lipscomb is probably going to be one of the best teams we play all year for what they had. And so for us to do that, I think it was a good thing mentality-wise for our guys of where we are now. Doesn't mean now, hey, we still got work to do, and the teams we're going to play are going to be just as exceptionally good and veteran presence. But those weekends will prepare us, no question.
The one thing that really sticks out to me, you take out that Huntsville trip, you have a long period of time at home.
Yeah.
Then you go to Mars Hill, to LMU, to Tusculum, and your really long road trip outside of that is to Anderson for a series. How much does that help your crew?
Unbelievable. Now, overnight trips are good because you're trying to develop chemistry within your club. And overnight trips, that's how you develop your chemistry because they're with each other. So you're on the bus and then you're at the hotel, so you're around each other. That is good for chemistry. But because of the way the schedule worked out, we're going to LMU. We're not going to stay there. We're not going to stay at Tusculum. We're not going to stay at Mars Hill. The trips are close enough where we can get back home. So one, you're staying in your own bed. Budgetarily, it's not a bad deal because we're saving a little bit of money there. But to be able to sleep in your own bed and then get up and not have to travel very far, that is an advantage. There's no question about that. And I think moving forward as we go into divisions, that's one of the things I think that could be helpful to clubs is how much traveling you're doing, or as you're lessening the travel a little bit.
Last year, 4-game series in the conference. You're back to the 3-game series this year in the league.
Yeah.
Was it a benefit last season to have those 4 games getting ready for this year, knowing what it's like? in a 4-game series to try to win those 4. Now you're back to a 3. You can manage the game a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think so. You needed pitching depth, as you knew, with that 4-game, and some of those games really got extended and long, as you were announcing them, and we talked about. So now I think we went from an 800-meter to a 60-yard dash, and we know that these things are going to go much quicker right now. And so, yeah, maybe the pitching depth, you may not use as many pitchers as you needed to have last year because of the 3-game set. So I think that's something that we have to look at as well. So, it's definitely going to change things a little bit. But it's nice to be back to the full schedule, kind of the routine that we're used to right now. And I know talking with guys in our conference and seeing what they have, it's going to be a very competitive year.
With that, you're back to some midweek contests throughout the season as well. How important are midweek games because you didn't get them last year?
Unbelievable. You got to have opportunities to get kids in there, say pitchers that weren't able to throw on the weekend. You got to keep them fresh. And the only way you're going to do that is by facing, competition. You can only do so much in the bullpen. And there's a lot of guys who got $1 million arms in the bullpen. You put them in the game against somebody else, and all of a sudden stage fright hit, and he can't find the strike zone. He's like, well, coach, I'm a 60% strike thrower in the bullpen. But I'm like, you're 40% in the game. That matters in the game. So us to have games and the opportunities for these guys to compete, for sometime hitters to kind of find their rhythm and timing, you need those games. The more games we can play spread out through the week, the better. Like I said, last year and the years we've had without those midweek, that's a challenge. And now, hopefully, we've got that taken care of.
Final question for you. You discussed a little bit about the fact that COVID allowed a lot of teams to have some extra experience. With that, some players might sit there and think, hey, we're back to a normal year. There's 50 games on the schedule. We have plenty of time. How do you avoid complacency early to know that this is a sprint this year and this is your last go-around and it will be done in about 2 months?
Well, we've told them every day there will not be any complacency because we're not going to have it at all during our training, and we're going to keep reminding them about the gift we have today and making sure we get a huge advantage. That's the coaches, and that's going to be the players just reiterating to each other that for some of these guys, this is truly their last year. COVID ain't going to give them another year. This is it. And I think there is that sense of urgency, of really appreciating each day. And I think this fall we sensed that a lot. Some of those seniors spoke a lot about this being it. And if practice was dragging a little bit in the fall, you'd find that guy said, hey, we can't have that. This is it right now. And I think it's good to have that sense of urgency and appreciation for what we have right now and not look 3 years from now if you're a freshman or look at the end of the year for a conference tournament. No, man, right now, take advantage of it. There will be zero complacency because our coaching staff, which has done a tremendous job this fall with our guys, will make sure that does not happen, and our upperclassmen it just ain't happening. That word complacency, that's done. I ain't going to say it anymore. It's over.
It's over and done with. Coach, this interview is over and done with. Thanks so much for the time. Looking forward to the start of the year.
Thank you. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. He's Coach Tom Griffin and Michael Watring here for the Eagle Sports Network.